Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the first session for this week's writing task. We are going to be looking at non-chronological reports based on the modern day Olympics. Now, obviously, in our history videos and our history topic this week, we are looking at the ancient Greek Olympics. So we thought it might be nice to do the modern day Olympics so that you can compare the two. Now, before we get started on our planning, I want to show you some examples of work from before Christmas. So we did biographies which were in chronological order, so slightly different to what we're doing today and this week. But I thought they might inspire you to think about how you are going to set your work out at the end of these few sessions. We were amazed. We were absolutely blown away with the way that you all presented your writing in these. So this might be a lovely starting point for you to think about for the last session. So here you go. It's just a few of the examples. This one has some 3D bits on it. There you go. Okay, right, let's get started then. So the first thing I want you to do is we are going to create a word bank. You can do this however you like. Grab some paper. I'm going to do it as a mind map. Now I'm doing this on my iPad, so bear with me because I'm hoping that this will work. It might not be my neatest writing, so I apologise. When you think about the Olympics, what do you think about? So I just want you to write down all the things that you think about. So for example, I think about sports and athletes. This is really hard to write on actually. Competition. Okay. What about things like countries? Because obviously you have all the different countries from around the world because it is global. Put global on there. Elite. I like the word elite there, the elite athletes. Teams, because we have the different teams, don't we? So like Team GB. Mascots, there's always a mascot. Oh, hang on, I'm going to read that out, that's rubbish. Here we go. What else do we have? What about medals? We get medals, don't we? And normally they stand on the winner's podium. Okay, now I'm also going to think about the sorts of feelings we get from watching the Olympics. So things like they're inspiring, aren't they? So they are inspirational. So let's write that. Will that fit in down there? Inspirational. They evoke like a sense of hope, don't they? And they are aspirational. Is that going to fit on? They're aspirational. Maybe things like unity and togetherness. Right, there we go. Glory makes me think of glory. Got hope, haven't I? Oh, I know. Dreams and goals. If you are one of the Olympic athletes, you'll have dreams and goals, and they can help us to set dreams and goals of our own, can't they? Dedication actually is a nice word. Makes me think of all those dedicated athletes. Maybe sportsmanship. This is the bit I miss about class because you'd all be giving us your lovely ideas right now. So you just get stuck with mine. There you go. Now I'm going to leave it there for now. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut that and put that on there because I'm going to use that to help me with my planning later on. Let's move that up and there we go. If you want to send me any of your word banks at any point, please feel free. It'd be lovely to see what words you have from yours. Now, we're just doing the planning in this session, and I want to show you, I'm going to go back onto here, when planning a non-chronological report, it's important to think about what that might look like as a piece of writing. So non-chronological means it's not in order, it's not in time order. So when I think of it, well, we always start with an introduction, don't we? So I'm going to put my intro, there you go, in the middle. Now, if it was chronological, it would go like this. It would go, there's my intro, and we would go like that along. But it's not. It's non-chronological, so it can go in any order. So it might be, there you go. If you imagine these boxes are my paragraphs, from the introduction, you could go to any one of those paragraphs, you could take any path, and it would still make sense. So paragraph 1, maybe paragraph 2, paragraph 3, paragraph 4, paragraph 5. It doesn't need to follow necessarily a logical order. Okay, now again, I'm going to cut that because that is going to help me to remember what it is that I am doing when I am writing. And then you guys can use that as well to help you. Now, if we have a look at that shape as well, each one of those boxes represents a different paragraph. And when we're writing non-chronological reports, we can break up those paragraphs by giving them a subheading. So I want you to have a think about what subheadings would you like to have on your report. Now, you can either have the same ones that I come up with, or you could come up with some of your own, because there are so many different things we could end up talking about with the Olympics. Now, I've already come up with a few ideas down here. And if I bring that up to the top, there we go. So these are my ideas. So I've come up with the origin and the background, ceremonies and traditions, sporting events, and famous athletes. You might do something like countries. So you might have a paragraph that is all about the countries that take part. You might have, what else could you have? Maybe medals. So you might have about the winning and what happens when you win, and the first and second and third place. Is completely up to you. Maybe one about mascots and all the different mascots that have taken place. So they're the ones I'm going to use for mine. Feel free to use them, that's absolutely fine. Now, with your plan, so you need to plan this out before we can do our writing this week. With your plan, don't worry about full sentences. Bullet points is absolutely fine. So if I think about my introduction, what would I have in my introduction? Well, the introduction needs to make the reader want to read on. So this is where I'm going to refer back to my mind map, I think, of words. I'm going to start with, it started in ancient Greece. And it was in 776 BC, if I remember rightly. And I'm going to link that to the present day. And I'm going to use words such as inspirational and, a word, I've just thought of one, legacy, the legacy of the games. Maybe, what else could we have off there? Some nice ones there. Unity, the nice one. That's all you need to pop in there. You don't need to put a lot, because when you write it, you'll then make those into full sentences. Right, paragraph 1, origin and background. So if I'm thinking about the modern day Olympics, the original Olympics started in Greece, and then they inspired the Olympics that as we know them today, which then started in Athens in, I think, 1896. So it started in Athens in 1896. What I'd also like to put on there is the fact that they take part every 4 years in the summer. And then I think I'd quite like to write about the countries that take part. Now I know I need to do a little bit of research about that. So tonight I can research that, ready to write that paragraph when it comes round. Ceremonies and traditions. Can you think of any ceremonies or traditions that we have? Well, we have the Olympic torch, don't we? Ooh. and spell Olympic, Olympic torch. We have the opening and the closing ceremonies. I think I say ceremonies. I say a bit weird, don't I? We have those as well, so I can talk about those. Might also, in that paragraph, mention the Olympic rings, so the big symbol that we all know and where that came from. That'd be a nice one. Sporting events for my third paragraph, or my fourth paragraph, I should say. Now, I know I'm definitely going to have to do some research on this one, but what I could talk about is some of the examples. So examples of some of the events. So, for example, there's running events, and there's the track and field events. There are swimming events. What else do you get? Horse riding events, hockey, rowing, all sorts. So, examples of some of the events we've got. I might mention in there the different venues. So, for example, you have the velodrome, don't you? That's the cycling one, I believe. I might mention in this one the medals as well. So I'm going to put here bronze, silver and gold, and that's where I could get in there that word podium, look, over from my mind map. So I'm going to write that there. And then my fourth paragraph that I'm going to do, or my fifth paragraph in overall, is all about famous athletes. Now, obviously, all the athletes that take part in the Olympics are amazing, but there are some that we end up hearing more about than others. So I'm thinking of people like Mo Farah. Is that how you spell Mo Farah? He's British, isn't he? British. There we go. We've got Usain Bolt from Jamaica. Who else we got? People like maybe Bradley Wiggins, Jessica Ennis. Oh, I can't think off the top of my head. I'm going to have to do a little bit of research on that one. But those two definitely stand out at the moment. In fact, I'm going to put on there as well. Is it Jessica Ennis? How do you spell it? There we go. So that is my plan for my non-chronological report. So I know now that they're the rough things that I want to talk about in each of those paragraphs. And I know I need to go and do a little bit of research for those, because unlike stories where we can make it up as we go along, when you're doing non-fiction writing, you do need to find out obviously some information and facts to help you. So once you've done your plan, if you're copying mine, that is absolutely fine. If you're doing your own, fantastic. Go and do a little bit of research and then come back for the next session, and we will start looking at how to write a fantastic introduction.